For anyone who played Tekken 6, Miguel Caballero Rojo seemed like just an angry brawler. A hothead from Spain with no martial arts training and a chip on his shoulder the size of a mountain. And he looked like Carlos from Resident Evil 3. Easy to overlook, easy to dismiss. But hidden behind that rage, behind those wild untrained strikes, and that burning hatred for Jin Kazama, is actually one of the most devastating love stories Tekken has ever dared to tell. A rebel who pushed away everyone who ever tried to get close to him, who only truly loved one person in his entire life, and watched her die on her wedding day. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the story of Miguel Caballero Rojo. Now, for anyone who needs to understand Miguel, you need to understand what he was before everything fell apart. Because he was born into a very strict conservative Spanish family. Miguel was always the black sheep. He was wild, unruly, rebellious to the core. Kind of tell by the hair as well. And from the moment he could walk, he was starting fights, pushing boundaries, refusing to conform to what his family expected of him. By the time he was 15, the discord between Miguel and his parents had become too much. He left. Not asked to leave, not thrown out. He chose to leave. Because Miguel never wanted to answer to anyone, he found sanctuary at a local bar, survived through street fighting, built a life on his own terms. Rough, dangerous, and completely free. On paper, Miguel was exactly what people said he was. Troublemaker, a brawler, a man with no discipline and no direction. But here's what nobody saw. Underneath all that rage, underneath the fights and the rebellion and the refusal to be tamed, there was a heart capable of extraordinary love. And it belonged to one person entirely. Now, for anyone who's ever had someone in their life who accepted them completely, exactly as they were, you will understand this part of Miguel's story instantly. His sister. In a family that saw Miguel as a problem to be solved, she saw him differently. She accepted him for who he was. She didn't try to change him. She didn't judge him. Didn't add to the chorus of voices telling him he needed to be something else. She loved him for who he was. She visited him secretly behind her parents' back. She kept that connection alive when everyone turned their back on him. And Miguel, this man who had pushed away every person who tried to get close, he let her in completely. She was the only person in the world he truly trusted. The only person who made the rebel feel like he belonged somewhere. We all fundamentally want to feel like we belong somewhere. We all choose our tribes, whether it be religious, whether it be cultural, traditional, and this is very deep. And here is the detail that tells you everything about how deeply Miguel loved his sister. He considered killing the fiance, not out of cruelty, not out of selfishness, not out of he was being mean to her or hitting his sister. Out of desperate protective love of someone who couldn't bear the thought of anyone hurting the one person who mattered. But he held back because he wanted her to be happy, even if it cost him. Now, that's interesting because choosing her happiness over his pain is the most human thing Miguel could have done. And it makes what happened next almost impossible to bear, to be honest. The wedding day arrives, his sister is in her dress, the church is filled with people. It's the beginning of a new chapter for the woman Miguel loved more than his own life. And then the jets came, ordered by Jin Kazama as part of the global military campaign. The church was destroyed and Miguel's sister died in the rubble on her wedding day. The one person who had ever truly accepted him, gone. Not in a war she chose, not in a fight she entered, on the happiest day of her life. So think about how deep the developers are going with this story. Miguel already lost his family, his sense of belonging, and that moment of total destruction. That rage that had always lived inside Miguel now found a purpose. Jin Kazama. And this is crazy because Jin was a good guy, but it is what it is. For anyone who actually played Tekken 6, I used to compete in Tekken 6. And I really used to love Miguel's gameplay. But in Tekken 6, his storyline, his motivation simply became about revenge. He wanted Jin Kazama dead, plain and simple. Well, understanding why, understanding what that mission actually meant to him, changes everything about how you see his story. This was more than revenge. This wasn't revenge for revenge's sake. This was the only reason left to wake up in the morning for Miguel. Miguel had built his entire identity around being free, answering to no one, needing no one, belonging nowhere. He's gone back into the darkness, and then his sister had quietly dismantled all of that. She had given him a reason to care, a reason to belong, a reason to feel. And Jin Kazama took that away. So Miguel entered the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6 with one purpose. Not glory, not prize money, not proving himself. He just wanted to get back at Jin. He fought his way through the tournament with raw, untrained power that shouldn't have worked against disciplined martial arts. But grief and rage are their own kind of training, and Miguel was fueled by both. For anyone who thought Miguel's story ended with just revenge, what came next was actually harder to process than his sister's death. Jin disappeared, vanished without a trace before Miguel could catch it, and in that moment, Miguel actually lost something even more devastating than his sister. He lost that purpose. But that purpose was going to go eventually. For months, maybe years, the only thing keeping Miguel going was moving forward with the thought of ending Jin. And then it was gone. Jin was gone. And Miguel was left with nothing. No sister, no family, no home, no revenge. Just hollowness. Just emptiness inside. He felt hollow. One of the most passionate and driven characters. Miguel wandering through the ruins with nothing left. It was one of the most quietly devastating moments in Tekken entire history. Now, for anyone who followed Miguel into Tekken 7, his return was actually built on the only thing that he had left. Hope. Not faith, not certainty, just a desperate convincing of himself that Jin might be in this tournament. Because if Jin was dead, then really Miguel had to look for something else to carry on in life. He wanted justice for his sister because he didn't have no closure, no ending to a story that had consumed his entire adult life. So he entered Tekken 7, still raw, still untrained, still fighting with pure heart and fury rather than technique, still carrying her with him. In his Tekken 7 win pose after defeating an opponent, Miguel pauses, almost as him checking himself, as if he was remembering why he's doing this. And in one of his victory sequences, he gets angry at a cameraman filming him, and he punches the lens. This tells you about Miguel's anger, because Miguel was never interested in being watched. He was never interested in glory or recognition. He didn't want to be the most powerful fighter in the universe like Paul. He just wanted his sister back, and he wanted justice for his sister. And when you can't have that, you settle for the next best thing, making sure Jinkazama answers. For anyone hoping Miguel's story would finally reach his conclusion in Tekken 8, well, bad news, he's not in Tekken 8. He's not even been mentioned in any of the seasons. There's not been a mention of him. This is a man who gave up everything. His freedom, his direction, his sense of self. Tekken 8 just simply moved on without him. I don't understand why the developers do these deep storylines and then completely get rid of the character. They'll put in someone like maybe Lucky Chloe. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. So that storyline is still hanging because Jin is in Tekken 8. So that redemption arc in Tekken 8 can be told. That you can continue that story. The man whose entire life was destroyed by Jin's actions has been left behind. Miguel's sister deserved to be avenged. I think Miguel deserved better. Now, for anyone who grew up playing Tekken, Miguel was always just the angry Spanish brawler. Like, I love Miguel. The way he played, that poking style. I can't really name a character in Tekken 8 that has that poking style. And I really love that stance he would go into. Down forward one. Miguel deserved better from Tekken. Especially the developers. His sister deserved better, to be honest. And here at Aussie XP, I like to talk about it. I like to do these deep dives. I miss Miguel. Miguel's one of my favorite characters. I wanted to talk about his storyline because it was really deep. Let me know in the comments. If you like the video, guys, give it a like. And guys, subscribe and be part of the family. I'll do more Tekken deep dives.